Gonna lie, I just had the best shower I've had in a minute. I don't know why I need to say that, but that thing hit so differently. Oh yeah, by the way, we're playing on Minecraft Peaceful today because I just can't bother to deal with mobs. Let me know if you want Skyblock or any story-based mods, like a zombie mod or something like that. And yeah. Anyway, as to the title of the video, is discipline really very powerful? And let's begin by, I guess, asking, have you ever really noticed that, like, during the times when you feel like you are the most disciplined, you had a time when you've been so sort of, I guess, locked and dialed in, focused? Did you ever notice anything else around you, or anything else but that specific thing that you were working on?
And that's right.
And like to the point where, I guess, even colors in life just didn't really exist. Everything was just kind of black and white, locked, basically. You know, there's like a whole trend of, you know, locking in and stuff like that as well. And it's a nice ability to have. It really is. And some people, especially on social media, they religiously defend discipline as if it's a holy grail to success, which it can be. I can definitely see the whole point of why it can be. Obviously, you got David Goggins that's breaking records and things like that. Top level athletes, they also talk about discipline, but this is what I kind of want to talk about in this video. And I feel like it could come across as I'm hating on discipline, and I'm really not. Quite the opposite. I'm a big fan of discipline, so let me just say that right now. And I'll probably have to repeat that a few times in the video because a lot of people don't seem to understand that. Oh yeah, also, thanks for 600 subs. You guys are amazing. I did not think that we'd get this far. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to know that my videos are having some sort of impact to the world. It's helping people out. It's also kind of gathering a nice little community in a sense. It's kind of cool. But yeah, discipline. On paper, I just realized we got Silk Touch. Mad. Nice. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much I'm a really big believer of discipline in terms of, to some extent at least. And some people, they need it in order for them to understand that for routine to basically exist. You could always argue that routine is governed by discipline in a sense, but talk about it in a second. On paper, it might seem like it's the secret recipe for success, just discipline by itself. Or at least a lot of people seem to understand that it's just discipline. Discipline equals results, if you want to talk about, you know, statistically. And yeah, I mean, consistent action is also governed by discipline, so you could argue that. But there's a part of that not kind of feel soulless in a sense. Like there's no character to it. It's just you and the goal, and you just pretty much ignore everything around you. You don't get to appreciate the beauty of life sometimes because a lot of your energy is just taken towards just pursuing that goal. And for some, again, like I said, for some, they kind of need that because their goal is that important to them, and the desire to achieve that is so important. And not only that, but the mental kind of fortitude that you build with having good amounts of discipline, it's extremely powerful. It really is. And you will know it when you've experienced it, especially when it comes to resilience. But again, resilience isn't like, it's also the ability to kind of adapt and to kind of continue on in a sense, because you're just sort of hammering out over time. You're not taking a step back to really wonder what's going on. And this looks like a really cool island. I'm not really here to kind of complicate things for you because, again, if you find it working for you, then stick to just discipline. And in simple terms, just use it. Develop a good enough routine that you can stay disciplined to, and you can be on your way in life at least. If you go that way, I'm kind of want to go back this way. But this is where I kind of come to a little bit of a disagreement with it, because, and I don't want to say disagreement because I don't, but kind of more of an awareness towards what this kind of produces as a result, and how it works for some people, but for other people it may not be as efficient, and they may not be able to craft better results through just having discipline, because everyone else might be telling them, yeah, you lack, again, discipline. It's not always the case. And this is because, I guess, some people, they work in phases where you kind of have this work hard, play hard kind of mindset. Some people have that kind of battery that they need to sort of recharge. They need to have that kind of balance, a sort of playful attitude from time to time to really unleash and essentially bring the best out of themselves. Where, if needed, they could always just lock in and then relax and then lock in. And I think this is a state where everyone can kind of reach because, and this might be kind of unpopular, right? This kind of, I guess you could call it a viewpoint. But for the most part, discipline is doing kind of what you don't like to do every day. Or at least for a lot of people, it might be like that. And why do you not kind of want to do certain things all the time and instead develop a kind of purpose for the things that you're trying to implement discipline into? And this goes for the purpose of why you do what you do. Fun, glory. This will all put you in kind of different perspectives to make smarter decisions and not what hustle culture wants to tell you is work harder, be more disciplined. And there's nothing wrong with hustling. If anything, I think generally a lot of people don't hustle as much as they think. I mean, they might do. I'm not, no judge or nothing like that, so.
Nice.
Or at least they don't really make enough adequate change from doing so. And then they reach the point of exhaustion, and then they give up. And at that point, I don't think discipline can take you too far once you're completely burnt out.
This
is nice, let's chill here. But the point I'm trying to make, and again, not bashing discipline at all, it just seems kind of overdone with everyone talking about it. And when this kind of stuff happens, usually it kind of seems to result in a lot of misinformation and a lot of people kind of following this sort of one script for everyone, this one kind of mold for everyone. And I don't think that's right because, again, we are unique individuals sharing a collective. You're human just like other people, but you also have your individual characteristics, if you will. And so if you feel like discipline kind of makes your life more robotic, and we can use sport for example, right? So the player's like kind of purpose in sport is to win. The purpose of winning is so strong that when you see the joy, the smiles, and the happiness after training and performing and winning, maybe not during the training part, this in a way kind of brings discipline automatically, because there'll be days where we kind of forget our purpose and we don't really want to fulfill it on those kind of days, where the bed feels comfy, where you don't really feel like training as hard as you want to. Usually, from what it seems like, at least to me, is you kind of forget your purpose in that kind of moment, and so you're not as receptive to remembering. And I think this is where discipline should kind of set in, and then you kind of teach yourself that in moments like this is where I really should use discipline, and the discipline to remember your purpose rather than discipline to essentially force yourself. It's kind of a similar thing because it produces a similar result, but your kind of reasoning for doing it and your probably output would probably be way more efficient. So yeah, pretty much I guess purpose and kind of finding reasons to do things is number one. The desire to kind of uphold certain standards will be so much better when you're living with purpose. This guy's towards the moon. And I guess another thing with discipline is that it sometimes doesn't let you sit back and observe. There's always this kind of constant pressure where you feel like you have to do stuff, which again, it can be a good thing in some occasions, but I think people's ability to have a lot of discipline and also the ability to kind of step back, it's a lot harder than it seems. And this is why you kind of need that sort of balance. You don't want too much balance because sometimes you need to be a little bit more with either stepping back, or you kind of have to put more effort with discipline, or at least hard working, because again, sometimes you would need more than the other, but for the most part you want to keep a very balanced outlook. And the balance of stepping back, reviewing your character, as well as the disciplinary practices that you're trying to do on a daily basis. Sometimes you have to analyze, is everything that I'm doing as, I guess, efficient as possible? Am I experiencing more joy and love and compassion and all that stuff? Or am I just kind of going down a dark sort of tunnel? Am I really doing this for myself? And is it my true purpose, or whatever you want to call it, to do so? And I think this is a really hard thing to balance out, because sometimes when you get so locked into routine, you kind of forget to kind of evaluate yourself after a certain time period. And this is where I think a lot of people could thrive in, because they know their character more, they know their triggers, they know what they are themselves, And then they also know when it's time to actually do the work necessary, but in a very smart and creative manner. And obviously, going back to the kind of individual, I guess you could say, needs and desires and characteristics. Some people need more discipline, which is why it will work for them. Whereas some people just need kind of more review of themselves, a self-talk, all of that good stuff. And that tree over there is, I don't know. But yeah, I think we're reaching our limit for recording now, so yeah, hopefully, oh yeah, I need to get a microphone actually and sort out some other things with the channel sooner or later. I'll get onto that one day. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace and blessings to you all. And also, again, not really trying to spark or invoke too much crazy emotion by saying this thing about discipline, because again, I can understand why people may be triggered in terms of I don't think discipline rules all. And if that's the case, you can stick by it. It's just a YouTube video. But yeah, remember to be grateful, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.